Hi, so I'm going to show you how to create your own Google site, and we're actually going to use a template so that you don't have to do everything on your own. But don't worry, you'll still have all the control to edit anything that you want in your site. So to begin, we're going to go to sites.google.com, and when you get there, you'll probably see something a little bit different than what my screen shows. This is where you'll see all the sites that you've either created or that you have permission to edit. So I've got quite a few, you might not have any. What we're going to do is in the upper left corner, go to Create. And here's the page for you to create your new website. Now you could use a blank template, and that will just create a very basic website and you will have full control to start from scratch. But we're actually going to use something from our gallery. We're going to use a template that I created for teachers. So once I've got that template, I'm going to go ahead and select, and then you'll see it shows that I've got that template selected. I'm going to name my site, and you'll see the URL automatically pops in there for me. So you could shorten that if you wanted to. Down at the bottom we can select a theme. And right now, since we chose a template, a theme is already selected for us, so I'm just going to choose the one. I'm going to let the template decide which theme we're using. And then way at the bottom we've got more options. You can add site categories, which just make it easier to search for your website. They're just a kind of a tag for your website. And then you can also add a site description, just a brief description of what your website is about. And this is what will show up in Google results. When somebody Googles your website, a short little description shows up right underneath the title link, and that's what this is. With both of these fields, you can edit them later on, so you can go ahead and leave them blank or you can fill them in. We'll go ahead and click Create up at the top once you're ready. So once Google has finished creating your site, you'll see that you've got a home page by default, and this template also includes a page for classes. So the first thing we're going to look at, when we have got a brand new site and we want to edit something, there's a few options here at the top of the page. We're going to click on the pencil, which allows us to edit this page. So you'll see now I've got some editing options that look kind of similar to what you have in Google Drive. I can click in any of these text areas and edit any of them. And for my template, I've kind of put in some instructions for how you should fill your information in. Whenever you're finished editing a page, you'll always want to click Save, and that commits your changes. So you'll see Google saved a draft of what I just did by adding my name. It saved that draft, but nothing is actually committed to your live website until you click Save. We're going to look at a few of the other options up here at the top, and then we'll come back to the editing menu and show you some more of the advanced options. So another button here at the top is the New Page button. If I click that, it allows you to add a brand new page to your site. So you want to give your page a name. And you'll see it automatically generates a URL for your new page after you enter the name. You can choose a template that you want to use, and there's a few different types of templates. You can play around with them. And then you can choose where you want to put your page. So you could put it at the top level of your site, or you could put it underneath the page that you were on when you clicked the Create Page button, or you can choose an entirely different location. And down here, if you choose a different location, it'll show you the hierarchy of your entire site. I'm just going to put this page at the top level. I'll click Create Page. And you'll see it looks pretty similar to the one we were just working on. I'll go ahead and save. And one thing you'll notice at the bottom of this page is that by default, attachments and comments are enabled. So you may not want those enabled on all of your pages. If you come up here to the gear menu, you'll see you have a ton of options. The one that we're going to look at is page settings. Here's where you can disable comments, attachments, and links to subpages. I like to disable all three. It keeps your page a little cleaner at the bottom. You can also add a page description for this individual page, or you could change the URL here. You can also change the template that you're currently using. So here's where you could kind of play around with the different types of templates. I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and then you'll see that it refreshes my page and all of that clutter at the bottom is gone. Now you'll notice that the new page I added automatically got bumped into this left sidebar. And when I go to edit a page, I don't have the option to edit that area. It's because that's a site-wide element. It's something that is there on every single page. So the way that we edit this sidebar and the header and a footer if we wanted one, we go up to the gear menu and go down to Edit Site Layout. And now you'll see I can hover into that sidebar or the header, and I've also got different options up here at the top if I wanted to enable a footer or horizontal navigation. And again, these are site-wide elements, so if you change this here, this gets applied to every page on your site. So you saw earlier I was hovering inside of the header. I can actually click in there and it gives me some options. Alignment, adding logos or images, how wide I want it to be, the height. The same goes for the sidebar. I could click in the navigation, and I've got a few options here as well. So by default, your sidebar will add all the pages that you create at the top level of your site. If you want to have control over what goes into this sidebar, you can click Automatically Organize My Navigation, disable that, and now you'll see this box where you can add whatever pages you want to. You click Add Page, and now you could order them however you want to in the sidebar. You'll see I can move them up or down. I could make classes appear underneath Home. I could also add URLs to outside websites. So I could add an email address, or I could add my class Facebook or YouTube page or anything like that, and I could have it open in a new window so that students aren't navigating away from my site. After I'm finished, I click OK, and then you'll see that my sidebar just got updated. You can also add text areas in the sidebar with the little plus. So you could add text. Again, you could add contact information in this blank space area. You can also add a few other elements: recent site activity, a countdown, authors of your pages. So you've got a few options. And then this little pencil here in the sidebar, I can choose which side I want the sidebar to appear on. So I could put it over on the right, and I can choose how wide I want it to be. Once you're finished, you click Close, and that saves the changes that you've made. So now we're on our new page. If I come out to Home, you'll see that those changes remained on all pages. In the upper right corner, you'll see the Share menu, and you'll notice that your site is private by default. So you don't have to worry about anybody seeing your site until you're finished with it. And in a little bit, I'll talk about how we can make our site public. First, let's go back to the Edit Page menu. Now I can add a few more things than just text. You'll see I've got an image here. If I click on that image, you'll see the options for it, or I could remove it. But using the insert menu, I can also add other images, links. I could add a YouTube video, a map. I could add any of my Drive documents. I could embed them right in this page, which is kind of nice because if you have a calendar, you can add a calendar. If you want to make a calendar in Google Documents, you could do that so that you have a laid out calendar where you can type in each box what your assignments for the day are. Or you could make a class roster, or really any type of document you can embed right in your page. And once you embed it the first time, anytime that you edit that document in your Google Drive, it automatically gets updated on your Google site. So you don't have to come back to your site to do any editing. Now up here at the top we've got a few other options, like layout is the important one. I can change the layout of just this page. So right now I've got 2 columns. What if I want to go to 3? You'll see it adds an extra text box. And again, this is just for the page that I'm on. I can undo up here. A nice feature, if I've got a bunch of text copied in to my website, let's say I've got this red text that I copied and pasted from my old website, and I want it to have the same formatting as the rest of my page, I could highlight it, and then this little button up here, TX, removes formatting. So it makes all the text consistent with the rest of your site. So if you're copying and pasting, I really suggest using the remove formatting button. So again, we're going to go ahead and click save. So that covers most of the basics for editing each page. We're going to actually get into our site settings now. So up in the gear menu, let's open that up and go down to Manage Site. And now here you've got a ton of options for changing different settings for your site. You'll notice at the top you can change the name of your site, but one thing to be careful of is changing the name will not change the URL. So if you change your name to something completely different, the URL is still going to be the same as it was. Here's where you can add categories, or you can update that site description, and that's what we did right at the beginning when we created our site. You can also use a site notice. You'll see what that looks like here. If I type that in and click save, I'm going to go back out to my website using this arrow right here in the upper left. And you'll see an alert pops up here, this site notice. You can scroll past it, they can interact, but it's going to stay there until they click that they've read that notice. So something that might be nice if you have a test coming up, or if it's a snow day, or some sort of important information. We'll come back out to Manage Site. I'm going to take away that alert. A little bit lower, you can choose to copy your entire site if you wanted to make a copy of it and have somebody else. If somebody else really likes your site, you could make a copy of it for them and give them permission to edit. You can publish as a template. So if you want to create a template for your students for a project, you could do that here. Or you can delete your site entirely. You can configure your search options. By default, that search box on each page is only going to search within your site. And then down at the bottom, you've got different methods of gathering statistics on who visits your site. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Up here on the left, you've got this Pages menu. And here you can reorganize your pages just by dragging and dropping them. So if you need to do a lot of organization, here's the place to do it. We'll go to Sharing and Permissions next, and here's where you can change whether your site is public, or you can change who has access to edit it, just like Google Docs. And then down at the bottom we've got themes, colors, and fonts, where you can edit basically anything about your website. If you want to change the header or any of your text, you can do it here.